What date is it today? I think it's the 18th, Sunday, the 18th of January. Anyway, it's a Sunday in January around about that time in the year of 2026. And I'm at a place called Wood. If we can see it there, it'll be in mirror writing because of I'm in selfie mode. So if you want to read it, you'll have to read it in the mirror. Anyway, this is a lovely little place where I'm grateful to be able to walk here freely. I don't know who owns it, but it is open to the public, and there's just something about the woods and trees that I find very attractive. I just had a love of wood and timber going back to my teenage years, and spent my life, at least a good whack of it, crafting in wood, and just loved exposing the beauty in particularly timbers like bur elm and just unusual character that I could find by revealing the beauty within timbers. For a minute there I thought my video wasn't on. Anyhow, again, I'm going to spend about 10 to 15 minutes just expressing myself and what moves me to speak this week. Here we've got a souterrain. I don't know what's the history of it or how it comes to be there, but it's like a cave underground, but it's obviously deliberately built by some human being in the past for whatever reason. There may be local history of it, of which I'm not aware, but here we have a lovely beech tree which hasn't lost its leaves, and no doubt it's getting to the stage of the year where it'll be starting to think of shedding those leaves and replacing them with new growth. Again, some of the thoughts that are on my mind, because there's so much controversy in the world at the present time, and I see people very willing to express not only opinions but very hardened opinions, coming down absolutely on one side or the other. Is Donald Trump a good guy, a bad guy? And Putin and Xi and all these political figures throughout the world. The stance that I have always taken in life is that I'm seeking the truth behind what is hidden. And I really don't see how I am going to be able to form a very definitive opinion on the information that is coming forward to me with news media. And one of the things that caused me to think about that brings me a bit closer to home. Way back about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I started to think about what they called the Troubles in Northern Ireland and how many people died in that period. And I just want to stop this conversation for a short while, because here's a fantastic root of a beech tree. Just it always strikes me as I pass by here, just its rugged beauty. Anyhow, I took the notion of trying to find out what were the facts and figures around the deaths in the so-called Troubles in Northern Ireland and compare them to the road deaths. And I had difficulty finding the facts and figures online, but eventually I did, and I forget exactly the exact figures, and I don't have them here. And but what I discovered was that over the so-called the 30 years of the so-called Troubles in Northern Ireland, there were something approaching 7,000 deaths. And when I checked out the figures of who died on the roads, it may have been 7,500, or give or take 500 either way. There wasn't much difference over the 30-year period. And that caused me to think, because I thought if you were a tourist or a potential tourist in Sydney and you were thinking of going to Ireland for a holiday, and you saw all the terrible news on television, you would have thought, I'm not going there, it's far too dangerous, you could get shot or something. But nobody ever thought, I'm not going there because I might die in a road accident. And then that caused me to think, reality is presented to you on what is on the news, and you form your opinions upon that. And when you look at the hard facts behind the news, then you begin to ask, who presents the news? Where does it come from? Who decides what is news? And just think about those startling facts around the Northern Ireland Troubles and the number of road deaths. And what was given focus was what people, what people sucked in and what people got riled up about and what people got annoyed about. So let's stand back a bit from what's going on in the world affairs today and think, how can I form a definitive opinion when it's dependent upon what's presented to me on news media? And even if I'm digging around, as I do, online, that's still, I'm not getting all the facts. So when I look at things like that, and I think, what's the point in me getting annoyed about the bigger picture in the world, which I cannot change? And the more you reflect upon that, you have to look at your own circumstances and say, what is there about my world that I can change? What can I do to make my world better? And then people might think, oh well, I'll just work hard and make more money, but is that the answer? You really have got to start and philosophize about things and think of what makes one happy. What makes children happy? Children come into this world as empty vessels. And I would say these children are seeking truth. They want to know what's real, what is worth, what are the values worth chasing, what is going to give them contentedness on the long run. And so, despite all external circumstances that you feel that are inflicted upon you by the world, we've got to think, what can I change about me? What can I change about my circumstances? How can I build a better foundation for the next generation? What are real values and what are the things worth pursuing? And if I'm going to spend my life giving off about what my neighbour's doing and what Donald Trump's doing or what Keir Starmer or whoever is doing, yeah, keep an eye on it and try and find out. But find some balance in the world and find out what is really true and useful and worthwhile implementing in my life. What can I do to change my life? Just to come out to a place like this, take some time off, have a look around, stop and breathe and get away from it all. Twice, 3 times a week, however often. Just by yourself. And all I'm doing now is I'm thinking out loud, and it's not an answer for anybody. I don't expect it to be an answer. It's not a lecture for anyone. I'm speaking to myself and hoping that what I'm saying, well, might have a spin-off for someone, and that they might enjoy my trip through Craigie Woods on this Sunday afternoon. Just as it's, well, the sun's probably just about setting. If we could see it today, the sky is grey. Sunset has stretched by a good half hour or more since the shortest day. I'm looking forward to when the shoots start to come up through here in Craigie Wood and the leaves start coming green in the trees. I look around here sometimes and I'm a little saddened when I come through here that I don't see more wildlife. And well, actually today I was thrilled again. It's quite common now to see red squirrels in and around Cushendun, which is quite thrilling. But anyway, as I finished up my video last week, I'll say the same today. I'm optimistic about the world. I'm optimistic that, yeah, there are many things about it that can concern us, but I think there are many pointers there if you dig around and search in the background and not what's always just presented to you on the television, that you can find good news behind it all. And I can see signs of people waking up to what is real and what is useful and what is worthwhile. And as more and more people wake up, then circumstances will change. And we won't be looking to the politicians that we have accepted for the last 50 years and for more, and what's presented to us, that once people wake up and decide what is valuable for me in my community, in my own immediate environment, and to reflect upon those things and to build them into my life, then that will change my life. If I change my life for the good, that has spin off for children, brothers, sisters, parents, those who live around me. If I build a nice little reality for myself, then that has spin off. And that's the way to build the world, is from the bottom up, not from the top down. That's why globalism will fail, it's destined to fail. And that's why government comes back to self-governance. One must govern oneself and build one's own world, not look for someone outside of yourself to build the world for you. Goodbye on this Sunday afternoon. Hope you enjoyed my talk. Do give me a thumbs up, make a comment if I can succeed in leaving that vacancy below my video on YouTube. And if you see me along the street or whatever and want to comment or have a chat, I figure I'm a pretty approachable guy. Have a chat with me and look forward to presenting another little video a week from now. Bye.